occurs along Abergatter Trail and Willow Drive. Additional details. At 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesday, the stage was 12.6 feet. Forecast. The river is expected to rise to a crest of 13.0 feet Thursday.
Good people, welcome to the City Commission Chambers for our Tuesday, February 22nd General Session meeting. Before we proceed with prayer and our Pledge of Allegiance, I'd just like to explain the public comment. And so if you'd like to address the City Commission during a public comment period, you may complete the comment form at the back of the room and submit it to our Deputy City Clerk. On the form, please provide your name, your home address, and the topic on which you'll be speaking. When it's your time to speak, I will acknowledge you, and you will come to the podium, provide your name, and give your remarks. Note, I will not share your address, nor will I ask you to announce your address before public comment. Throughout our commission meeting, let's maintain decorum and remain respectful of one another. Visitors to our meeting should refrain from making remarks from the audience, and instead are welcome to sign up to give public comment at the podium when called upon. So if you'd like to join us in prayer and then Pledge of Allegiance, please stand. And we have Reverend Diane Stark from Unity Church here to lead us in prayer.
So as we gather today, we open our hearts and our minds to the greater good, to the Spirit that abides in all and through all, and we commit ourselves to a future of sustainability, anchored in compassion, well-being for all, balance and life-filled with our soils, our waters, our air, and our creatures, and our societies. Thank you, God. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Reverend Stark. Madam Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Gorman,
Here.
Commissioner Emery,
Here.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Here.
Mayor Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Hood,
Here.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Here.
Vice Mayor German.
Here.
All right, we have the consent agenda on the screen. When we're not ready for consent agenda, we are doing public comment on any agenda items. I have not received any forms for people to speak on an agenda item. Did anyone have an opportunity? Did you receive another form?
Maybe the Henry Street
Oh, yes, that will be coming up.
under new business.
That is, yep, that's under new business. That's with regard to, I'm trying to scroll on your screen.
We'll speak, yeah, during the...
We'll be having a public hearing on that itself, and I'll be inviting up, well, it's not technically a public hearing, but I will be inviting you up to speak when it comes to that item. So unless there are no one else that wishes to speak on agenda item,
Not that I'm aware of.
then commissioners, you've had an opportunity to review the consent agenda. Are there any items on consent that you wish to have removed for separate deliberation and vote? Commissioner Emery?
Item G. And H, but I think my questions will answer both.
Okay. So you'd like G and H removed? Or,
No, just G because I think it'll be answered.
okay, item G. Commissioners, are there any other items? Yes, Vice Mayor German.
Let's do item J and actually item I. And I think that's going to pretty much answer the questions as Commissioner Emery talked about as well. But I'd like to get some feedback on that.
So it would be G.
Okay, there we go. G, I, and J. All right, Commissioners, we have items G, I, and J to remove the consent. If there are no others, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented, minus items G, I, and J.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus items G, I, and J.
Support.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Gorman, supported by Vice Mayor German. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, Commissioner Emery. Item G.
Yeah, I move to approve the agreement and authorize the city manager to sign. Did I read the right one?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Support.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Emery, supported by Commissioner St. Clair, to approve the agreement and authorize the city manager to sign development agreement with Williams Construction.
Good
Commissioner
afternoon.
Emery. Director Echo.
Good evening.
Commissioner Emery, do you have specific questions, or would you like the director to report out on this?
Yes, I would like a report out on this. And then I'll see if you've answered my question or not.
Sure. So items G, H, and I on the agenda this evening are the formalized developments agreements for the previously earmarked ARP infill housing program dollars. So these are reflective of the number of homes that each developer is responsible for financing themselves, as well as the number that the city will front the dollars for. Let's see here. Williams Construction is doing a total of 6 homes. LRS Enterprise is doing a total of 6 homes. And then Kramer Builders is doing a total of 4 homes for a total of 16 infill homes in our city neighborhoods. Due to ARP regulations and because of the program as written, those homes will be marketed to folks between 60 and 120% AMI for owner occupiers. And we would commence this construction season. So these are simply formalizing the previous vote by the commission to allocate those dollars from the ARP funds to infill housing and to these specific developers.
Okay. Well, thank you. That answered most all of my questions. How is the money going to be repaid? And how?
During the time of sale. So the way this program would work is, and it's laid out in these development agreements, the finance department will set aside separate funds and utilize the funding from ARP at specific amounts in the development agreement in separate funds for each developer. And then they would utilize a draw system as they construct the funds. They also have to show proof of financing for their homes that they need to finance because this is a 50-50 match. So if we set aside $750,000 for one developer, they have to also finance $750,000, enough to build 3 homes. And we would finance the other 3.
Awesome, thank you. That answers all my questions.
Commissioners? Vice Mayor German.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Second, is Mr. Williams available, or is it a representative here to speak on the company?
Mr. Williams was not available this evening. I believe somebody from LRS was supposed to be here. That would be item H. And then item I was, they were not available. They were here when the funds were initially allocated and did answer some questions when we allocated the ARP dollars to their project. This is simply the formalization of those dollars. I have spoken to each developer, and they are all looking forward to getting started this construction season.
Okay. All right, thank you. I just wanted to get some insight and also let the public know who these developers are, and they can kind of present themselves and introduce themselves to the public. So, as well.
Sure.
So, thank you.
Commissioners, do you have any other questions or input on this item? Thank you, Director Ekholm. Madam Clerk? Roll call, please.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Vice Mayor German, item I.
Yes, actually, I move to approve the agreement and authorize the city manager to sign.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor German, supported by Commissioner Gorman, to approve the agreement and authorize the city manager to sign the development agreement with Kramer Builders.
Thank you, Mayor. Pretty much, you answered all the questions as Commissioner Emery indicated, so that was my concern as well. Kind of wanted to hear from them, so I'm okay with the response, unless you have something to add.
I mean, I'm happy to give a brief overview because those developers aren't here. As I mentioned, they were here previously. So very quickly, all 3 of them are local and have worked with us before in various capacities. Williams Construction is James Williams, residential builder, and has also built commercial apartments here in Muskegon, mostly on the east side of town. He has built several single-family homes in the city limits over the course of many years. And LRS Enterprises is Rudy Briggs. He's currently undertaking some construction for us on Leonard. This project, 4 of his 6 houses would be a continuation of that street, finishing out that block, and then there'd be 2 other locations in Jackson Hill which were previously approved. And then Kramer Builders has been a longtime contractor for us for CNS, and is also a residential builder, and so will be constructing some new construction for us as well on the east side in the Marquette neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Also, is there designated locations of where these properties are going to take place?
Yep. So I did notice that the exhibit was supposed to have the lots laid out, lots and parcel numbers, and these ones don't. The previous agenda item did. So all of their lots have been previously earmarked, and they'll be building on the ones that the commission approved previously.
Okay. Off the top of your head, which neighborhoods are we talking about?
These will primarily be built in Marquette and Jackson Hill.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry, remind me, was Kramer not planning on Campbell Field, like by the, or did that change? Because I thought they were looking at those kind of 2 lots that were backed up, that went up against Campbell Field.
On Dowd.
On Dowd.
Yep.
On
So
Dowd.
they've separately contracted with the city. They've acquired those lots and are beginning to build on those separately because the Department of Treasury took a long time for us to get our final rule as to what the parameters of the building process were going to be, and they wanted to get started this early in the building season. So, those lots have been earmarked for them. Yeah, so Campbell Field, Jackson Hill, and Marquette.
Bless you. Commissioners, any other questions or input for Director Ekholm on this item? No, see none. Thank you, Director Ekholm. All right. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And Vice Mayor German. Item J.
Yes, thank you again, Mayor. Let's see. I move to approve the amendment as presented and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion by Vice Mayor German, supported by Commissioner Gorman, to approve the amendment to Community Encompass Infill Housing Agreement, the each program as presented, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Hey, Mr. Eckham.
Hey
Again.
Popular tonight.
Yes, just a brief update how Community Encompass plays a part in this project. If you can just kind of enlighten us on that.
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity. So it's been some time since this has made the podium, so it's good to kind of give a rehash. So we're really proud of this program. It took us quite a while to come up with it. We're partnering with Community Encompass, which is a housing development nonprofit here in town, and also a community housing development organization, which is a federal designation, to infill housing that will be reserved for folks at 80% AMI or below for owner-occupier opportunities. For our first pilot here, we're calling it the EACH program, and it would feature, it originally featured 3 homes, all of which would be delivered to existing city-owned lots, and then one of which is a completely accessible home, an accessible 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit, primarily in the McLaughlin neighborhood. We have 2 of those homes placed right now, and we're looking to identify the correct lot. We'll actually be reaching out to the McLaughlin Neighborhood Association here shortly to help us identify a lot. The reason I'm bringing this forward tonight is because when this was contrived, we did not have access to these ARP dollars, and so our city's contribution, which is effectively a 60-40 split, Community Encompass is bringing to bear 60% of the funds and down payment assistance for those income-eligible families to mortgage these homes, which would be sold for considerably under market for new construction, even in the city of Muskegon. And so what we would like to do is we would like to substitute the home funds that we've allocated previously, which were $250,000, and substitute those with some ARP dollars at the same funding level, and then do a separate home build through our CNS department with those allocated CNS dollars, which would give us a 4th home, and we'd like to do another accessible unit, 100% accessible unit. So that's the reason we're bringing it forward tonight.
All right, thank you for that update.
Commissioners, any other questions or input on this item? All right. Thank you, Director Echolm.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Excuse me. Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next up, we have unfinished business. An amendment to the Marijuana Facilities Overlay District for 1314 East Apple Avenue. This is a second reading. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the request to amend section 2331 of the zoning ordinance to include 1314 East Apple Avenue into the marijuana facilities overlay district with retail provision centers and Class B recreational grows as approved license types.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Gorman, supported by Commissioner Hood, to approve the request to amend section 2331 of the zoning ordinance to include 1314 East Apple Avenue into the marijuana facilities overlay district, retail, provision centers, and Class B recreational grows as approved license types. So, Commissioners, we already deliberated on this previously. It's a second reading because we did not have a unanimous adoption on the first reading. And when it comes to zoning matters, it is not unanimously, a second reading and a second vote, necessitating a majority of the commission to then formally adopt. So, do you have any additional questions or input on this item before we go to vote? Yes.
Yes.
Vice Mayor German.
Yes. Yeah, I'm familiar with this location, and I've actually met the individual who's the owner there. If possible, is it possible he can come to the podium and speak now, or if I have any questions?
Sure.
Okay.
If you'd like to speak with the applicant,
Is he here? Oh, there he is.
Mr. Ori is
Okay.
here. Good evening,
Steve
Mr. Ori.
Ori.
If you give your
Hey.
name and address.
Steve Ori, 3060 Sherwood Court.
Yes, I Hi, Mr. Ori.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And this is finally came in. I know I've gotten a chance to visit your facility, and
Yeah.
it's good to see that you're still, hanging in there. And now we're
It's
where
what
you
people
want
in
to be at
Muskegon do,
now.
man.
But if you could just kind of give me an update, because I wasn't at the last meeting, but what's going on with you on your facility, and what are your plans, and how you plan to service the community with your business.
Yeah, so essentially our plans are just to develop the building. We're looking to put a retail store in there for the first time in 30 plus years, which is quite honestly a huge deal. And then essentially the building used to be 2 storefronts, so we're hopeful to put 2 businesses in that one building because it's so big. The ball's been rolling for a while, so I mean we've pretty much got everything ready. We're just waiting on city permission to just get it executed and done. I've got all area people working on it, as far as like contractors and architects, if you will. So everything's staying local, and I'm excited to see this come to fruition. It's been a while.
Great. Just another question there also. I know we talked when I came to your facility. I think you have a biology background or something
Yes, sir.
like that. Are you planning on doing any setting up a testing facility there or anything in the future? Or?
I had once upon a time I had interest from a group of people that I've always been wanting to split the building into 2, and I had some interest in that, but because of the zoning that is currently in place, it just wasn't possible. And so I believe that those guys are looking at being over in Warren at this point in time. So I kind of lost the ability to do business.
Okay, great. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I will say this, Willie. I do think that that it would be nice to do some changes for the testing. I think Web Chemical would be a great candidate. I know that they've been super busy with everything that they've got going on, but even like Trace Analytical, sorry, I guess that would be the people here in town. If we could open the opportunity to them and not make it super hard on them, I would actually think that they might get into it, especially because of the big enterprises that are already here, if you will. So it makes sense. It's just another ancillary business for an already existing company.
Thank you for that insight.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yes, and if just one moment, Commissioner Hood. Yeah, on that point, I have encouraged them to consider such trace analyticals, and it's not something that they're interested in doing at this time. But hopefully they'll change their mind in the future and continue growing with us. But sorry about that. Thanks for your patience, Commissioner Hood.
I'm good.
Just one last question.
Yes.
Something that I always ask every marijuana owner, when it comes to social equity, we know under the mandate with the Michigan how they regulate things now. What is your take, and are you equitable in hiring practices under EEOC compliances with your facility?
100%. That's actually one of my big passions, to be honest with you, Mr. German. I'd like to see a lot more African Americans from this town involved, and not just like 5-10% owners. I'd really like to see like some individuals that actually own some of these companies. 51%, 100%. My big thing is just training. I know that I had a hard time when I worked for another company here in town in the same industry, just hiring people, because a lot of them did have felonies and misdemeanors, and the company at the time I was working for wanted nothing to do with it. As far as I'm concerned, we should give everybody a fair chance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioners, any other questions or input on this item, or for Mr. Ori?
I just want to say thanks for coming back and making time. I know we're doing the second reading really on a technicality, so I appreciate you making time for
I
us.
won't lie. The MLive article kind of fried my family last week. Like, I almost didn't even show up, so.
Commissioner Ramsey, do you have something?
I was just going to say thank you as well. That, this is something that's new to our city and new to us, and you've been so patient as we have tried to be with everyone. And so I'm excited for all of these things to happen, and thank you for sticking with it and for your resiliency.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Ori.
Yep.
All right, is there anything else from the dais? We'll go to roll call.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next, we have new business, HBA demolitions. This is our public safety. We have 4 addresses on here: 2123 Henry, 507 East Apple, 743 Amity, and 867 Scott. We do have a member in the audience wishing to speak on 2123 Henry. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak on any of the other properties? Seeing none, so that we may proceed with the
Go ahead, sir.
staff report as well as deliberation on this. Would entertain a motion to concur with the Housing Board of Appeals decision to demolish 507 East Apple, 743 Amity, and 867 Scott.
I would like to motion.
We got a motion from Commissioner or Vice Mayor German. Commissioner Ramsey, would you like to support that?
Sure.
All right. We have a motion by Vice Mayor German, supported by Commissioner Ramsey, to concur with the Housing Board of Appeals decision to demolish 507 East Apple, 743 Amity, and 867 Scott. All right.
Well, good evening,
Chief
Mayor and
Lewis.
Commissioners. For 2123 Henry, we're going to ask that be removed from the agenda. We're going to take it back down to the Housing Board of Appeals. We talked to the owner before the meeting, and we're going to try one last thing, and we'll see if we can get a permit on it and get it rehabbed. If not, we'll probably be back sometime around July if it is not completed and to specifications at that time.
All right. Sounds good.
That's it.
Would you like to start out on reporting on 507 East Apple?
Well, since no one's here to talk about those, let me get my file here. I did not go over those. So no one is here to represent those.
Well, this is up to the commission. Commissioner, would you like to hear about
Yeah, if you have
507
any
East Apple,
questions.
743 Amity, or 867 Scott?
No.
I have no questions.
Have questions or would like to receive a report on those properties? Yes, ma'am. Are you here to speak on one of those items? Which address?
Well, we got a lawyer for 507 Apple. For 867 Scott, they were sending stuff to 56 East Hampton. That's no longer her address. She paid for a permit.
All right, wait, excuse me. If you could,
She's representing 507 East Apple.
said 507 East Apple and 867 Scott. Is that who you're representing, both those properties?
507 Apple. I think she's in the room. Oh, here she go right here. She 867 Scott,
Okay.
right here.
So we have someone here for 507 East Apple and someone here for 867 Scott. So that we may handle those separately. Vice Mayor German and Commissioner Ramsey, would you amend your motion to be only 743 Amity right now?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So now we're going to deal with just the motion for 743 Amity. And if left there are any questions or input from the dais on 743 Amity, we will proceed. Or if Chief Lewis has anything to add on 743 Amity right now that you want to,
I have some notes here for 703 Amity. The commissioners received the photographs and a full packet on that. I can answer any questions. And we do now have someone here to represent it, so I can address their concerns, but I can also fill the commission in as to why we're asking for the house to be demoed at this time.
Did you say we have someone here additionally for 743 Amity?
Don't we have someone here
No,
representing?
they're for the other two addresses.
Okay, so
Yeah,
just
we're dealing
that.
with the one there's
Okay.
no representation here.
Okay, so we'll scratch 743. We have nothing to say
Okay.
for 743.
So then we're going to go to roll call on 743 Amity.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramsey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now we're going to 2123 Henry's been removed. We still have 507 East Apple and 867 Scott. Let's handle them separately. We have individuals representing each of them separately. So, commissioners, would anyone like to make a motion on 507 East Apple?
Sure.
Yes, Commissioner Ramsey.
I motion to concur with the Housing Board of Appeals decision to demolish 507 East Apple.
Support.
Motion from Commissioner Ramsey, supported by Commissioner Hood. Chief Lewis, would you like
Yes.
to provide a report on 507 East Apple Avenue before we hear from the representative?
Yes, Mayor, I would. 507 East Apple Avenue. As you know, on all these houses, we have the opportunity, we look into the records of the city and the county. We contact the owners by registered mail. We post the homes. And so once they go to the Housing Board of Appeals, that is their opportunity to have a hearing on these properties. This one, the owner was not present in December at the meeting and has not contacted the staff since October of 2021, but work has continued without a permit. The property has been unregistered as a vacant building since 2018. The house is completely gutted. New electrical wiring and fixtures, roof were replaced, and exterior doors have been installed without permits. A building permit was issued to the owner in May of 2021 for the DB repairs, set to expire in February of 22, which is right now. Work has been completed under permit, but has not been approved through inspections. Multiple work deficiencies have been noted, and the property sits as is. Large portions of the work have been completed and covered without being inspected, including the roof, the footings, the new bathroom, the new framework, and the rear additions and also the siding on the rear of the house. No permits for electrical. No licensed contractors have been provided for these building permits. And the Housing Board of had declared this structure in December of 2021. That's where it stands now. There's just been a lack of communication. We went to the hearings. They did not represent properly. They have done repairs and additions without permits. At this time, we stand behind the Housing Board of Authority to demolish the structure.
Yes, Commissioner Hood.
Chief, is this structure still considered a dangerous property?
Yeah, at this time, yes. And like I said, we've tried since October to get with these people to get this up to speed. But this time, any of the repairs they've done, because it sounds like they've done some work, all of it is without being inspected. All of it was out without a contractor. So which means if we get back in there and look at this, a lot of the stuff, the money they spent may not be up to code because we don't know. So at this time, and they had their opportunities to come to the Housing Board of Appeals and plead their case on multiple occasions and have not been there. So we're kind of stuck, and now they're here today trying to have a hearing in front of the commission. We always discourage that because that's what the Housing Board of Authority is for.
Okay. Can we hear from them?
Sure.
If you could please provide your name and address.
Maya Burks, P.O. Box 243, Muskegon, Michigan 494.
Thank you. And what was your last name? I'm sorry.
Burks.
Burks?
Yeah.
All right, Miss Burks.
Okay, Apple, 507 Apple, this is my cousin's house, so I'm here representing her. And for one, I want to start, it's a lack of communication. Because when we started working on this house, we was told to everything must go through Lance Bonneville, everything. So we didn't know that he moved to a different position, so we were still emailing him, contacting him, and then he told us we supposed to contact Blake. So we was contacting him. She got numerous emails. She even tried to extend the permit because we got a licensed builder that's willing to complete this house. Nobody's getting back to us or anything. And then they had a meeting in like December or something she was unaware of because we was told that she had until February to make some improvements on the house. So she kept trying to contact them because I know when she rebuilt the back, she called the architect. The architect was like, all right, call the inspector. She called in for the inspector to come out. She never heard anything else back. One of them said it was approved, and then the new Blake said it's not approved. And then, so it's just the whole miscommunication on this house. So the only thing she wanted was an extension so she can have the builder complete her house. That's the only thing she wanted.
Yes, Commissioner.
Question, why couldn't she come?
Because she's in Lansing.
She's in Lansing.
Yeah, she got a sick aunt that she's back and forth here in Lansing taking care of. So she in Lansing, so that's why I'm here. And I'm barely here. I had surgery yesterday, so it's a mess. A lack of communication, that's all. She just really wanted an extension to give the builder the opportunity to pull the permit and finish her house. Because she plans on living in this house. That's why she was pulling her own permits.
That was my next question. What was she planning on doing with the house?
living there. Yep, her primary residence. She was gonna live there. So that's why cause she was contacting, cause she contacts the architect for advice, and then she talked to her lawyer, and her lawyer was like, at this point, this was last month. He said just had a builder complete your house. So she talked to the builder, she talked to the inspection. The inspection was like, well, you got a meeting coming up. We just want to tear it down, all this. So just come to the meeting or whatever, and we'll just go from there. So that's basically, she's wanting an extension and let the builder complete her house. So she wasn't gonna pull nothing at this point anymore. She was gonna let the builder do it.
Okay, just one more question.
Certainly.
Why was it? I know you said it's a lack in communication.
Yeah.
But you also said someone told you that there was a meeting that she needs to attend. Was that one of the meetings that?
That was this meeting now.
That was this one.
That was this meeting, because it was a meeting in, like, I think December or something that she was unaware of, that we found out after the fact that they had ruled it to be like dangerous building work ain't been done. But she thought basically she had all the way until February to complete it. And when her aunt got sick, that's when she finally found the builder that was willing to complete the house for her. So yeah, so that's there's a lack of communication. She was still emailing Lance, and I'm pretty sure she was still emailing him, and then he told her, you gotta go to Blake now. So she was contacting him, and he wasn't getting back to her. And basically she said when she was dealing with Lance, like, he would guide her on what to do, and so it's somebody else now, so he don't do that same thing. So basically she was just gonna let the builder complete it for her. And he's willing to complete it, and he's willing to see what happens at this meeting and report to inspections and pull the permit for her.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Vice Mayor German.
Yes, how you doing, Ms. Burks?
hello.
Yes, if I heard you correctly, did you say, some of the mail went to the wrong address?
That one, no, that's for her house.
that was
But
for
no,
her,
this
okay.
one, the reason how I knew, because they put it on the door, they put it on the window or whatever about this meeting. And then when she called last month, and then she confirmed it, because it was supposed to be in a meeting last month, but they canceled it or something. So that's the meeting she knew about. But then we knew about this meeting because it was on the window.
Okay. Okay, and the Housing Board of Appeals, meetings, no one attended those meetings, pertaining to this property.
Was that the
Correct.
one in December, or that's the one, not the one last month? It was one in December that she didn't go to.
Either one. Okay, so did she attend any of the meetings? That's
I
my
know
question.
she have attended meetings. She attended meetings on Zoom. She attended meetings in person with a lawyer, because she eventually got a lawyer for this house. You know what I'm saying? Because she just couldn't keep up. And she had another house in her name that wasn't her house. It was her cousin's house. And I think he finally got that out of her name. So basically they was, so this is her house that she's living in, and she plans on living in once it's completed.
So you more or less like eyes and ears, and you oversee things.
I try,
kinda.
but I got
Yeah.
my own houses and properties I got to worry about. So I just try to, because I know she back and forth, so I try to help her keep up with it. And, so. But we did find a builder that's willing to complete her house. And the only thing she wanted was the extension, and after that, if she can't get it done, to do what you got to do. But she just wanted the extension and let the builder do what he going to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's all she wanted was the extension.
And last question. If an inspector was to come in and inspect the place, just say, this week,
Tomorrow. They can come tomorrow if they want
are
to.
all of the requirements that needed to be brought up to code, would that satisfy that inspector, you think?
Well, the windows, it was windows, framing. We didn't drywall it because we got to have inspection at that point.
Right.
And then we didn't put insulation in there. But they could come inspect the framing so we can insulate it. Yep, they can do that. It's at that point. The windows are corrected because it didn't have headers at first. Now it's headers on all the windows. Everything, I don't have pictures, but the inspector could come tomorrow morning if they like. We'll leave the back door open for him. But yes, it's to the point to where it can be insulated, and the builder can call his people to drywall and.
And what would be the time frame for completion of this property?
Well, the builder said at least a good 60 days because he got to have, because it's electrical work that's been done, so he got to have his electrician, go over it, make sure it's right, get the lights on and stuff like that, and then, plumbing.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
But he said like a good 60 days, fairly, he can get that house completed. And he said if if we can get the extension, he could go pull the permit, do the outside of the house, have that done by the end of this week. And then, but he want us, after the meeting, just to call for the inspector to come through so he could do what he has to do. And he know what he has to pull the permit for. Because at this point, he could see it, but he just really needs to know what he needs to pull it for.
Right. All right, thank you.
Mr. Ramsey, did you have something?
Yep. So I'm the commissioner liaison on the Housing Board of Appeals, and I just want to share with the bench that I am always about at every single meeting, and you can ask Blake and Chief because it doesn't make them very happy about how we open and how, as long as there is communication, we can move forward with these things. We are help that is our job. Miss Hannah has been in front of us several times. And so I'm not going to advocate for one way or the other with this conversation, but what we need to make sure is that as we look at how we deal with city procedures, especially ones that are clearly laid out in policy and procedure and ordinances, is that there has been a ton of opportunity here, and I'm not opposed to giving another opportunity. We just need to make sure that Miss Hannah understands that communication is key, and I have been at all of the meetings that she has been at. And so she has been aware of what's going on in the process that is there. And we do offer, previously it was Lance, and now it's Blake. At every opportunity, we are a resource, and anytime that we can do anything to help, we will. Because we don't want to do this, right? Like, we don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So regardless of the outcome of the vote tonight, I need you to share with Brandy that she's just got to communicate with us. And if she's saying she can't get a hold of Blake, something is wrong.
Well,
and so she got to show up at this building.
Yeah, we turn around, we call him, you know, that he like, well, contact Blake,
Right.
you know. But we just so used to calling him, and
Right.
and he'll, I'll come out, just schedule it with the girls, I'll come right out,
Yep.
you know this. So it's just different type of. So we just got to get
Absolutely.
used to that. But
Yeah.
But yeah. So.
And so I just want to reiterate that it's never the HBA's intent to hurt anyone or cut anyone off or do anything severe. We're always looking to help. There just has to be communication all the time. So I just wanted to make sure we understood that as a team.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramsey.
I have a question then.
Yes,
Commissioner
Commissioner
Ramsey,
Ramsey.
are you saying that the homeowner has been to the HBA meetings and did not understand?
No,
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
saying that there was a lack of understanding
Okay.
at all whatsoever. I'm saying that Ms. Hannah missed a meeting in December where her house was declared that she should have been at. And every time we grant someone an allowance or an extension, which we have for her several times, they're given a date to come back. Blake offers his services. I always yell from across the bench because Blake sits where you sit. I say, Blake, you're going to work with it, and it's great. So I'm not saying that this didn't happen, and I'm not saying that it needs to be demolished tonight. But we also know that's not the case. It doesn't happen tonight or tomorrow. And at some point, these interactions outgrow what the HBA can hold people accountable to, because then it just becomes one extension after the other, after the other, after the other. And at some point, it's no longer something we can handle. And so it needs to be moved up the ladder to the next person in charge.
Just 1 second.
Okay.
Did you have
Yeah,
any follow-up? Commissioner, you good? Vice McDermott.
Yes, speaking of extension, has there been an extension on this property?
Yes.
Since it's been in front of the,
Yes.
okay, how many,
Blake,
how long was that?
What we could do
60
here-
days,
Is our
90
staff
days?
here? You'd like to talk to Blake? Why don't we bring Blake
Okay,
up?
yes, okay.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. You can see here under the owner contact portion, all of the notices and postings that have been sent out. We do send all of our notices in triplicate. We send them via regular mail, via certified mail, and then we actually post them to the structure physically. This address in Lansing was the address Miss Hannah specifically gave me as her primary address. Miss Hannah pulled some permits. The building permit she did have, which has since expired, was a homeowner permit. She has been pretty clear that she's not living there. She's not the one doing the work. She has a few properties that she owns and has pulled homeowner permits on. We have since stopped accepting those because they don't meet the criteria for a homeowner to apply for a permit. Miss Hannah was not at the meeting in December. However, her architect, Michael Belt, was present. I spoke to him about 4 o'clock today. He called requesting more information. Miss Hannah did file a permit extension request without a licensed builder as a homeowner permit again. I Ms. Burke said that the builder was going to pull a permit. I have not heard from a builder, seen a permit from a builder. I would be more than happy to accept that, but it's been, going on 2 years now. We've never heard anything about a builder. So that's kind of as it stands. Part of the issue, to address Commissioner German's concerns or question, is that a lot of the work that's been done has been covered either by house wrap or siding, or in the case of the footing, dirt. They've covered that, they've built on top of it. In order to properly assess the work that's been done, we would have to remove large portions of the house wrap, the siding, potentially even wall forms. They were noticed of all these. Every time we input a inspection report, an email goes out to the owner. We do have Miss Hannah's email on file, as well as a deficiency letter that goes out to her, so she was made aware.
So this isn't her only home?
That's correct. She currently owns a house on 569 McLaughlin. She has a homeowner. She has a homeowner's permit on as well, or did have a homeowner's permit on as well. We've since canceled that. Through the assessor's office, she does. She is listed as the primary owner of that address as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner German, you
Okay. I'm looking at the owner's contacts, and this was actually starting from 6/17 of 2020 on up to December 2nd, 2021, and that last meeting, no one showed up. Hearing what I'm hearing today.
Sorry, her architect was here.
Her architect
Yes.
was here. Okay, and it's been stated that there's been some work done without a permit, which is not legal.
There's been work done that was under the scope of the permit she did pull. There's
Okay.
been significant work outside of that scope, including the new electrical, and then there's been work that's occurred, has been disapproved, and they've continued on past that. So we can't even accurately survey the condition of the craftsmanship because it's been covered. There's no way for us to see it without removing large portions that have been put up since. Even last week, they put in a new window on the front, different things like that there's not a permit on it. So
Yeah, and I guess what I'm looking at, there's been some attempt, but not actually the communication with the inspectors and Safe Build, which I'm trying to find some type of medium to say, well, hey, your interest in trying to get this property up to code and bring it to where it needs to be, but at the same time, the requirements was not met in the compliance with the actual city and Safe Build.
we do generally recommend at that point superintending control. She does have 21 days to file a notice with the court for superintending control, during which time her builder can submit his plans, her architect can submit his drawings. That gets worked out with the city attorney and the court. She has that option available to her.
The only thing, the superintendent control, she has to have a certain amount of money to put.
She has to cover the
Deposit.
Demolitions cost.
Right.
So I believe that probably about $10,000 is generally what we look for in a house this size. My comment on that would be, we're looking at probably $80,000-$90,000 to fix the house. So I understand you can get a loan for that, but if you don't have the capital to put it into superintendent control, perhaps she doesn't have the capital necessary to actually complete the project. We don't want her to throw away more money than she possibly already has.
Commissioner Ramsey.
I would just also like to reiterate and share yet again with my colleagues that at some point these situations become out of control of the HBA. And as you can see here, there's been a 2-year engagement with this specific property. And as it moves on through us up to superintendent control, then it's guaranteed to be dealt with in the most diplomatic way possible.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramsey. Vice Mayor German.
Yeah. I've heard everything that Inspector said, Chief Lewis said, and Ms. Burke said, and also familiar with the process of what Commissioner Ramsey is talking about, because I actually served on that commission also. And I know there's time that we did show leniency for people actually that have hardship. I'm open to probably maybe 21 days or maybe 30 days on the contingents that inspector could come in, everything's up to code, and put a timeline on it. Now that's something that we have to look at, and everyone will have to agree on. And I do know there's a lot of hardship now with the COVID and the cities not being open all the time as well. So, that's just my point of view of it. And
She
that's
does have
what
the 21 days after, this
superintendent control
to file for superintending control.
Right.
So she does have that time.
Well, and I was talking
available.
about before that.
Oh, okay. I
in
apologize.
addition to that, to
Yep.
get to that point.
So,
Yeah, the housing board does set those timelines. As you can see, we've been to more than one HBA hearing, and so I feel as though we've done our due diligence and our best efforts to try and help her get this property across the line. We just haven't been able to follow the rules and conduct the permit, inspections the way that they should have been done. Unfortunately, we're at this point.
Commissioner St. Clair?
So if we were to say, go inspect the house tomorrow, it sounds like that would be a very difficult process.
I don't think you could.
Is it possible?
The footings you'd have to remove a large portion of dirt around the footings on the exterior of that new kind of bathroom portion, the rear portion. That ground's most likely all frozen. If it's not now, it will be. And they're gonna have to remove a large portion of siding, house wrap, all that stuff. If they started right now, I suppose they could get it done for us to do it tomorrow, but they'd be hard pressed to actually get us in there. The work we have seen, because we have been in the house, we have seen the exterior on the one inspection that was disapproved. There are large portions that are done completely incorrectly. Notified of those deficiencies. So,
All right, thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Hood, did I see you?
No. I'm done.
Commissioner Ramsey, did you have anything
No.
to add? All right, Ms. Burks, I did see you wanted to provide additional remarks.
I need to clear some things up. Brandy, she has Apple, that's gonna be her primary residence, and she has 347 Drats, and that's a house that she's gonna sell. But Apple is her house. McLaughlin is her cousin's house. Some of them already know that. She didn't switch it out of the name, but the architect is working on a blueprint for that. And that should be in like the next meeting, and the cousin is gonna show up because that's really his house. It's just she bought it for him or whatever, but basically that's his house. So basically Apple and Drats. I don't know if you looked up Drats, but Drats is completed. So they didn't mention that. They didn't mention that part. So and Drats was on the dangerous building list too, and she was able to find a builder and complete that house all the way. So they didn't mention that either. So, but see, it was a miscommunication because when they did the footings on that house, I was out there with the architect, and the architect was like, okay, call the inspector. And Lance came through, or whatever. I don't think he was in his position yet, but they wouldn't have continued without them saying it was okay to continue. But it's nothing for us to dig around the outside, but they know it's house wrapped on the house, and they know it's framed up right on the outside. I'm not naive to building a house. So they know that part, and they know, because one of them said it's okay, but then he said it's not okay, so I don't know which one is it, because we was told it was okay. So that's why they continues to do what they did on the back, because they just sided it, and they put house wrap, and then they sided it. But we could pull the side and the house wrap off, because it's not completed. The windows are done on the house. But if somebody come and inspect it tomorrow, it would just be inspect the windows. Somebody can go over there and dig. There's nothing for us to go and dig around the back part where the bathroom is, but she's trying, but that's why she just said it's too much for her. She'll just get a builder like she did for Drats. It took more money, but it was easier, so. And she said she's willing to do that. She just need a little extension. The builder take it from there.
Commissioner Hood?
Does she have the money?
Yep, and we can prove that too. I
So-
said that one time before. Like, do y'all need to see that we have money to complete these houses?
So she has the money to complete it.
Yes.
So would she also have the money to put the house in superintendent control and then complete the house?
So is that paying like $10,000?
Right.
You get reimbursed. So
that
once
she
you
would get
complete
back
the
once
work,
everything is
the money
complete.
gets returned to you.
Sorry, Mayor.
So pay what, $10,000 tomorrow?
As part of superintendent control, if our legal counsel would like to speak to the process, would you?
Sure.
Okay.
Is part of a consent judgment, so it's after the filing of a writ of superintendent control with the court, we get served. They've got 21 days to file that lawsuit. As part of a consent judgment, there would be a requirement that they deposit $10,000 with the city treasurer through the public director of public safety's office. The money is held. When the work is completed, the money is returned. If the work isn't done, then it's used to demolish the building.
So basically, she still has to go through court
Yes.
at this point. She has to go through court for her house at this point.
Depends on what the city commission does, but yes.
If we concur with the Housing Board of Appeals tonight, the way to salvage that property and finish it would be to file a suit for superintendent control, and then, as part of the consent agreement, depositing the $10,000.
So how long was, so she got to pay $10,000 and then she has to pay the builder the what, 35 he wanted to finish the house. So 45,000 to finish the house basically.
And then you get the 10 back.
Yes. And I would just, before I call on Commissioner Ramsey, I would just caution that according to our inspector report, the estimate for completion of the property and renovations is up to $90,000. Just as a caveat, just from what our
Oh
inspector's
yeah, because most of
assessment
it's
is.
completed, so that's probably why the builder said what he said. So.
Commissioner Ramsey.
And so of that completed work, it all still needs to be inspected by licensed contractors and safe built to make sure that it is up to code and passes. And if not, then that has to be, and I'm not doubting anybody's work. I'm just putting it all out there. That would all have to be repaired and brought up to code if was not. So there might be additional costs there.
Okay. Yep.
Is there anybody else we can contact down there? Because I swear she put in an extension. She contacted, like she did, like she has emails to prove everything. You know, she calls, nobody returns her phone calls. So it's like it's a lack of communication. And I know she's doing what she says she's doing. You know, so and she don't understand what's the problem.
And so I think that if we talk about putting the house under superintendent supervision, what that does at this point is it takes those 21 days and it makes everything have to happen. So that we know that moving forward, it's going to cost $10,000 as soon as she gets all of that stuff scheduled, but that she will get that back to pay off the builder as soon as the work is complete. It really is just a way to put everybody in check and say, okay, this is the timeline, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. Everybody gets held accountable. She doesn't have to come to HBA anymore once a month and ask for an extension every month because it's all getting taken care of. But it's protected in such a way that every entity has a deliverable and an outcome. So it just pushes it forward in the most efficient way possible. Which is why I in these situations, I want to thank you for coming and speaking and sharing all this. But the way to protect, Mrs. Hannah is to do this because it puts everything into a timeline that will happen.
So she paid her $10,000. We won't have issues with inspectors. We won't have, because it's the issue. Our thing is communication. Because I know she's reached out. I know she's did what she's supposed to do. And when the inspector tell you, well, there's nothing I can do and just hang up on you, then what is she supposed to do? And if she do this, then
So this will mitigate all of that, and it will roll through smoothly.
Under superintendent control, how much time does she have to complete that house to get it up to code?
The one we are dealing with now that you approved 2 weeks ago, we called for the completion of the construction in September.
So it's not a crazy short window. The only window is the 21 days to get all the paperwork taken care of. Otherwise, it's between the builder and the superintendent and the homeowner to figure out what that timeline looks like so that everybody succeeds.
Okay.
We're not in a place to put pressure on anybody, but like I said, this is a way to put everything in a timeline that everybody has to stick to.
And in the extenuating circumstance that in 6 months' time, there's a let's say force majeure or something. There's a unexpected event that's happened that's delayed it. They can work with us on an agreeable extension. Okay. Commissioners, Vice Mayor German.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I want to make sure that Mrs. Burke, are you clear of what's going on here?
Yeah, I understand.
And okay,
Yeah, I
that we have an
understand.
understanding. Okay. Because my question was, and it was asked to you, did you have the money to address the super?
Yeah, we got the money, but our thing is communication with the inspectors. Because I don't understand how we able to get, because I even got houses downtown too, but it's like these houses, because they are in Brandy name, the one on Drat Street, it was just smooth sailing. She been at one of these HBA meetings and the house is done. Only thing somebody got to do is just finalize, I think, the plumbing or something. But it's like completed house. You can go live in there, But it's like this house and McLaughlin, we told him numerous times that's not even her house. That's her cousin's house. She was trying to help him out. So, but I just want to make sure if we paying our $10,000, are we covered? Because I don't want to issue with the inspector. And we got recordings and everything to cover us that we calling you and seeing how you talk to us and tell us what we need to do. That's what we just need to know what we need to do.
Yeah. And Eric and I are both going to give you our cards so that as you go through this, if you guys have any questions, please contact us.
So we have to have a lawyer do the paperwork for the superintendent thing,
I would
or
certainly recommend it.
huh?
I would certainly recommend it.
Oh, okay.
And your contractor will probably be able to help you find someone who can do that.
No, we have a lawyer already for this house. That's the thing. We already got a lawyer already. But yeah, so as long as we cover it, if we pay our $10,000, then that shouldn't be an issue.
That's great. Because I don't want to see you lose your property.
Commissioner Emery has a question.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Emery.
I'm concerned that you're thinking there won't be any more inspections done? Is that what you're thinking?
No, I was never under the impression that.
All right.
No.
Okay,
Like
good,
I said, I'm
'cause
not naive to this process.
Yeah, I didn't want you to go away thinking you'll never have to.
Oh no. I know every move you make, you're supposed to call them. And
Yeah,
I'm trying
okay.
to help her.
Good,
I have my own
good.
houses I have to worry about, and I tell her that all the time. But yeah, we just trying to get it done. That's all.
Okay.
And she put a lot of money already into that house.
Yeah, I just didn't want you to go away thinking
Oh no.
that you would, and then when you had to see an inspector, oh no.
no.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Ms. Burks.
And I'd like to give you a card as well,
Okay.
because that's actually in my ward there. So could you pass that down?
Thank you for being here today, Ms. Burks, and representing Ms. Hannah. And hopefully all goes well with the superintendent control and completion of the home so that we can welcome Ms. Hannah into our city as a new resident. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, commissioners, any final questions or input on this particular property? All right, we'll proceed with roll call.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now we have 867 Scott. Welcome a motion on that.
Yes, I would like to motion to concur with the Housing Board of Appeals decision to demolish 867 Scott.
Support. We have a motion by Commissioner Ramsey, supported by Vice Mayor German, to concur with the Housing Board of Appeals decision to demolish 867 Scott. All right, Chief Lewis.
Okay, Mayor, as with the other property, Inspections has been working with this property since October of 2019. You received photographs and a summary report in your commission agenda. The property was originally cited for working without a permit in October of 2019. The house was completely gutted and a roof was being replaced. A roof permit was issued in October of 2019. The work was completed without inspection. The house was sold to a current owner in December of 2020. In October of 2021, additional work was included. New drywall, windows, electrical was noted, and at that time, inspections posted a stop work order. The property was elevated to a dangerous building in October of 2021. In November of 2021, staff conducted an all trades inspections and noted the house has been completely remodeled without permits. Multiple health issues and safety violations were noted during the inspection. And there's several listed here: improper installed water heater, improper installed furnace, gas-fired appliances in bathroom, improper wiring, improper plumbing hookups, improper installed windows, roof framing removed, improper installed plumbing. Most of the work could not be seen due to, once again, covering up with new drywall, etc. Staff advised the owner of the next step for inspections and required permits in addition to the removal of the drywall to see the extent of the work. The Housing Board of Appeals declared the structure in November of 2021. Owner was not present, but sent a representative instead. That's our summary, and Blake is here to answer any more detailed questions.
Thank you, Chief.
Is there someone here to represent or not?
There is. Commissioner Hood, did you have something to ask?
Yeah. If I heard you right, you said that a lot of work was done to it to refurbish the house, but it wasn't done to code. Is that correct?
So when we initially noted this house, it was completely gutted down to the studs. No plumbing, no electrical, no mechanical, no drywall. Completely just wall forms, studs, subflooring. That's it. It was in 2019. We notified the owner, work was going on without permits. Permit for the roof, homeowner permit for the roof. Later, in 2021, we noticed that there was more work going on. We let them know there's work going on here without permits. We got back in, they had completely redone the entire house. The problem was, we noted multiple deficiencies, violations, serious health and safety hazards. That water heater venting that you see is running downward, so it will not vent properly, fill the house with carbon monoxide. Water heater was put in without a permit, furnace, all new electrical, all new drywall, all new plumbing. There's hookups for gas-fired dryer in the bathroom, which is not to code, again, carbon monoxide issue. They've actually removed a portion of the header in kind of a rear bedroom area, so the roof line is bearing on a window. So they've installed a window that's currently carrying the load of the roof line on the back portion of the house. We couldn't survey the electrical in the walls, the plumbing in the walls, the mechanical venting, things like that, because they'd completely redone it without permits. They knew they needed to get permits and had not done so. Miss Page, unfortunately, got the house through quitclaim deed from the previous owner, Brandy Hanna, neither of whom seemed to know who did the work to the house. So we're at this stage again where we're well beyond the scope of the permits they did pull. The existing conditions are dangerous, quantifiably dangerous in the home. We have explained to Miss Page and to Miss Hanna at the time, I believe Miss Burks as well, that they need a licensed contractor to do this work. This Lincoln address, I guess, is being told is no longer her accurate address. That's the one assessing has. That's the one we've had send all our mail. I haven't received any of those letters back as unable to forward. So, and they do sign for certified mail and things like that. But
Thank you.
yes, sir.
So certified mail has been delivered and signed for at that address?
I have not received any of it back. So there is an issue with certified mail. Occasionally it comes back COVID-19. The receipt comes back COVID-19, where the carrier did not have somebody sign for it. I don't believe I've received any of it back whatsoever, but I also have not received anything with a forwarding address, anything like that. As far as I know, in assessing, Ms. Page's address is still 56 East Lincoln Street, Muskegon.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any other questions for inspections department right now? No? All right. Is this Ms. Page here? Can you come up to the podium and give your name and address,
My
please?
name is Nikki Page. Address, new address now, but I still check the mail at 56 East Lincoln. My new address is 2137 Howden, Muskegon Heights.
Thank you, Ms. Page. If you'd like to give us any insights or share us any context right off the bat, otherwise commissioners may have questions specifically for you.
I was asked for the wall taken down. I took that down. I was told that I called for them to come out and do inspection after that. I never heard anything else about that. Move the drywall. I also paid for a permit. Then I was told after I paid for a permit by someone else that I couldn't have the permit and they was going to refund me my money, but I never was refunded.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Commissioner Hood.
Is this what do you plan to do with this property?
I planned on moving into the
You plan on moving into it? Okay. You heard what inspection said about a lot of the work that was done to the property?
Yes.
Does that worry you?
Well, actually, the work that was done in there was already done when I received it. So I was just going behind doing what y'all asked me to do, which was take down the draw.
Okay. So you have been cooperating with.
Yes, I have.
Okay. And I take it the Housing Board of Appeals meeting, did you make those?
What was that?
Did you make the Housing Board meetings?
Yes. My nephew had me coming for me because I was pregnant and I was on bed rest. Just had a newborn. Like actually one of my first ones stepping out.
Okay. Thank you.
Vice Mayor German.
Yeah, yes, excuse me, miss. Just a couple of questions there. How are you? Yeah, I didn't get your last name. What is your name?
Page.
Page, Miss Page. Okay. Given the report here, the work that was done on the house, and you're indicating that a permit was not pulled for this work. Was this before
I
you
bought the
became
property.
had ownership of the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and after you owned the property, was there any additional work
No,
done to the
sir.
property? So this was as is purchase for you.
Yes.
Okay. Have you contacted Safe Build or?
Yes, sir.
Can you, and I guess this is for Public Safety Director Lewis. For those meetings that the Housing Board of Appeals had, was Ms. Page at those meetings, or was anything sent out to her to come to those meetings?
Commissioner, we follow a set procedure where we look at the tax records and so on and so forth, which are our taxes due on this house. But anyways, we send those to the owner listed. We send registered mail so they're aware of it. We also post the property, so if they didn't see the mail and they were actually looking at the property, it's posted there and it's mailed to the last known address where the taxes go and that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's all we can do because, you know, that's what we do.
Yeah. So these letters went out to the original owner, but you never had knowledge, or?
And were posted on at the property.
Yes.
And it was posted at the property while you maintain ownership also. So you did have some knowledge, basically,
Yes.
of what was going on, but
Yes, sir.
you had nothing to do with that. Okay.
It came to my address, which
Yeah,
was
okay.
56 East Lincoln. Knew about the.
Okay. You're just trying to get some clarity here. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ramsey.
Yeah, I don't have any questions for Ms. Page, but I want to thank you for being here tonight and sharing your story with us about how this work has happened before you took ownership of this home. And I think that as we look at moving this up and under superintendent control, that She then will have time to talk to her legal counsel, figure out if there is recourse of action for what has happened to her, because how was the house sold and purchased without the proper inspections and with all of these things being proved, correct? Correct. And then if we need our team to get in there and help her to identify what needs to be remediated so that she can live in this very recently remodeled house that she's purchased, that we can go ahead and do that and make it safe for her to do so. But again, sometimes these situations outgrow the HBA, and that's when they also outgrow us, right? Because this isn't our area of expertise, but it is for the superintendent. And I think that in this situation, in situations like this, especially when there's so much confusion as to who is responsible for what, and Ms. Page has clearly said that she's not responsible for these repairs. So there has been some sort of default to her that has happened to her, and that this situation would be best mitigated by the superintendent.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramsey. Commissioner Hood.
One question. Do you have monies to finish the remodel of the house? And would you have money for the superintendent control? You know, that's about $10,000. Okay. So you have no problem with that? Oh, great.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Commissioners?
Thank you.
I don't have
Anything else?
nothing else for me.
No? Commissioner Gorman? Thank you. All right. Thank you, Chief Lewis. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Emery, absent. Commissioner St. Clair,
Yes.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor German,
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery's a yes. Motion passes.
Thank you. Before we go to the next item, which is our final item under new business, for anyone that's come into the room after the start of the meeting, if you'd like to give public comment at the end of our meeting, there's a form or forms at the back of the room. Please fill it out with your name and address and the topic on which you wish to speak, and give that to our deputy clerk at the end, and she'll pass that forward to me. All right. Final item of business on our agenda. Do we have a motion? I see a couple people hands down here.
Yes, I would like
All
to
right.
motion to concur with the staff recommendation and appoint Leanne Mikesell as interim city manager effective April 1 of 2022.
Support.
We got unanimous support. Can we just call that good? Unanimous consent.
You gotta pick one.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Ramsey, supported by Commissioner Hood, to appoint Leanne Mikesell as interim city manager effective April 1st, 2022. Commissioner Ramsey.
Yeah, so much is about this motion, right? And I just want to make sure that I don't spend a ton of time, but I want to say a couple things. I want to thank you, Frank, for getting us to this point, and for what you've done. And I'm sure we'll do this in much more detail at another point, but this isn't your time, it's her time. I want to thank our right now deputy city manager, Mike Sell, for stepping up into this position and showing that not only that you can do this, but that you will, and you will do it with grace and finesse, and that you put our neighbors at the forefront of everything that you do. And whether people have experienced that or not, that is what happens with every conversation that I have with you. And that excites me on the inside and on the outside, because I know that when we talk about our community and our city, that you really see everyone in every aspect of the cross-sectional people that we serve here. And I think that you being with us is wonderfully gracious of you. And to take on this role that is not going to be easy to fill, because Frank has big feet. I don't know if that's anything about him doing a good job, but he's got big feet, so they're going to be big shoes, right? But I know that that working with him has been a blessing to all of us, and we're excited to work with you next on a more intimate level. So thank you, Leanne, so much.
Exceptionally said, Commissioner Ramsey. Commissioner Hood, as the person to support it, do you have anything to add at this time?
No, I don't.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, you listen to us? I'm incredibly grateful for our Deputy City Manager, Leanne Mikesell, for her years of service to our city, and very much look forward to her leading us through this transition. I have the utmost confidence in her competence and being a very bright, capable, and caring individual. And I'm grateful. We'll save your accolades for later, but I'm grateful for our city manager and his nearly 9 years of service to our city and moving us forward. The future remains bright, and I'm excited about the opportunities that we have to pursue together as this commission and with an incredible team at City Hall. Vice Mayor German.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to congratulate Ms. Mikesell as well. You know, you're engaged with the community, and I see that, and I get a lot of questions and feedback. You know, it's a tough job, you know, and Frank can tell you that. Don't everybody see eye to eye or agree with everything you may do or the direction, but you're willing to sit down and engage and listen. And I think that's one of the most important attributes that a leader could have, is have the skill of listening. So look forward to working with you in this new position. And again, congratulations.
Thank you, Vice Mayor German. And just so the public's aware with regard to this motion, that we are appointing Leanne Mikesell, our current Deputy City Manager, as the interim City Manager. That will be effective April 1st. And in the event that she serves in that capacity beyond June 30th, we will revisit and renegotiate her compensation, because she's taking on additional work and leadership, and so it'll need to be reflected and in recognition of that additional work if we move beyond that date with her in this capacity. So unless there's anything else from the commission, we'll proceed with roll call on this.
Commissioner St. Clair?
Yes.
Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hood?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramsey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor German?
Yes.
Commissioner Gorman?
Yes.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now it's time for, oh, no, any other business? Commissioners? Yes, Vice Mayor German.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Johnson. Every year, especially during this time of Black History, I usually do a tribute to a Black historian, a leader. I felt that I would be remiss if I didn't. I stand on the shoulders of so many who have came before me. The suffering, the barriers, the hate, the discrimination that a lot of these Black leaders and past leaders have gone through. This one here is going to be about a female who has weathered the storm and is gratefully that she still lives among us. A lot of times when I talk about civil rights and historians that, Black leaders that have paved that way, we look at adults, but this is a little 6-year-old girl at the time. And some of you are familiar with it. Sometimes they don't teach this in schools, and Black History is one of those months where these type of contributions and stories should be told. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you about the story of Ruby Bridges. And this picture here should be a remindance of the barriers of segregation that she broke down as a 6-year-old individual. And I pass those along if somebody don't know. But if you don't know, I'm going to educate you today. Okay? Ruby Bridges was the first African-American child to desegregate the all-white Williams France Elementary School in Louisiana during the New Orleans school desegregation crisis on November 14th, 1960. She was only 6 years old at the time. On her first day of school, Ruby was booed by an angry crowd, and they surrounded the school. Not only did all the children in her first grade were withdrawn from her class by the parents, even the teacher resigned. She was left all alone in her class. However, to Ruby's luck, Barbara Henry, who was assigned to the first grade, took upon herself to teach her as a class of one student in that class the rest of the year. She also cared for Ruby's safety, not allowing her on the playground or the cafeteria. Ruby's ordeal in her elementary school caught national media attention and prompted artist Norman Rockwell to illustrate her walking to school on the cover of the 1964 edition of the Look magazine, titled "The Problem We All Live With." Despite this anti-integration protest that continued at her school, Ruby's grit and determination that saw her through school. Ruby did the rest of her education in integration settings too, helped by African Americans in the community, a child psychologist named Robert Coles, who became her friend, mentor, and counselor. She founded the Ruby Bridges Foundation to help involve parents and their children's education. After graduation, she worked as a travel agent, got married, and bore 4 sons. Her story would have remained unwrapped if it had not been for Robert Coles, who wrote her biography. Now the question is, how did the United States allow this to happen during this time of segregation? Well, let me take you back to 1896, when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in a case, Plessy versus Ferguson. And I'm quite sure that's something most of you law professors and law advocates would know, that racially segregated public facilities are legal so long as the facility for black people and white people are equal. The unruly Constitution sanctioned laws barring African Americans from sharing the same buses, schools, and other public facility as white, known as Jim Crow laws, and established the separate but equal doctrine that would stand for the next 6 decades. But early in the 1950s, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, was working hard to challenge segregation laws in public schools and had filed a lawsuit on behalf of the plaintiffs in the states of South Carolina, Virginia, and Delaware. When the cases of the plaintiffs named Oliver Brown filed a class action lawsuit against the Board of Education in Topeka, Kansas in 1951 after his daughter, Linda Brown, was denied entrance into the Topeka all-white elementary school. There was 4 cases related to school segregation that first came to the Supreme Court. The courts combined them into one single case under the name Brown versus the Board of Education. The story of Ruby Bridges brought her into the media glare once again. She appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 1995, where she was reunited with Barbara Henry, her first grade teacher. Ruby's own book, Through My Eyes, recounted her life experience. It went on to win the Carter G. Woodson Book Award, and she also received the Presidential Citizens Medal. However, the best compliment she received was from former U.S. President Barack Obama, who thanked her by saying, "I probably wouldn't have been here without her contributions and her civil rights movement." That's my tribute to Ruby Bridges.
Thank you so much, Vice
Thank
Mayor
you.
German.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Commissioners, do you have any other items for any other business? No? All right. Now it's time for public comment. When someone is giving comment, I ask that everyone else remain quiet and respectful. Individuals have up to 3 minutes to speak, and please direct your remarks to the meeting chairperson. Note, personal insults against staff members, commissioners, or others in the audience will not be tolerated. And for our general public comment period, City of Muskegon residents will be invited to speak first, then all others who've signed up to comment. So to begin, we have a Lynn, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing this last name. Is it Yazzik or Jazz? What's that? Jazik. All right. Miss Jazik, if you could come up to the podium and just properly pronounce your name for us, and then you have 3 minutes to give your remarks.
Thank you so much. My name is Lynn Jazik, and I serve as chairperson for Pound Buddies Board of Directors. And I'd just like to read a short statement. As an organization dedicated to the welfare of animals in Muskegon County, Pound Buddies strongly aligns with the belief that subjecting animals to medical and cosmetic research is globally becoming unsubstantiated and unacceptable. Pound Buddies recently made a significant investment in a facility designed to dramatically improve the way all animals are cared for, an effort wholeheartedly supported by the community and one that is dynamically contrary to what is represented by an animal research facility. Pound Buddies cares deeply about animals in Muskegon County and the families who love and respect them. And we remain extremely concerned about how a large animal research facility will impact our environment, our energy resources, the air we breathe, and above all, the thousands of innocent creatures that will be subjected to unimaginable pain and suffering. Pound Buddies stands shoulder to shoulder with our constituents, our volunteers, and members of our community who oppose the presence of and the proposed expansion of an animal research facility anywhere, especially in this beautiful city we call home. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for joining us today. Chair.
You're welcome.
All right, we have a Mr. Howeisen. Michael, you're in the room.
Michael Howeisen, 903 Turner Avenue, Muskegon, Michigan. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, and congratulations on your moving on. Hope it works out well for you. Well, we got a few things that I've taken a month and a half off. Boy, did you guys open up a can of worms. What did you do while I was gone? All of a sudden, we have more and more marijuana shops popping up. We're oversaturated as it is. Seriously, we cannot keep opening marijuana shops all over the city. There's other businesses. There really is. And now, you want to do this animal testing permit? We're selling this to a place that's going to do animal testing. Move it downtown. Get it back out of where you want to sell it to, because that's surrounded by township who have absolutely no say on what you sell. If you think this is so safe, put it downtown.
Thank you, Mr. Howeisen. We have Commissioner Hovey Wright. Just give your name and your 3 minutes up to 3 minutes of remarks.
Okay, Marcia Hovey Wright, Commissioner, 2nd District, which
Thank
is
you.
here. This is really more educational than a concern. We are, the county is involved in, we have acquired Dune Harbor Park. We have a north side and a south side. We are totally, we totally own the south lake. There's a lake on both sides. This is over by Lincoln, Seminole, and Sherman. We acquired it. Actually, no taxpayer dollars. Land Conservancy put in a big chunk. The owner, Mr. Chandonnet, donated a big chunk. It totaled 40% of the value. And the state, with the leases from oil and gas licenses, I think, paid for the rest. And by the end of this year, we will have the second half of that property. So the opening will be March 19th. It has to be opened within 90 days of when we acquire it. This is the south side. But we won't have the actual ceremony until, I think it's March 19th, or May. So there'll be parking lots in the meantime being developed off of Seminole and Lincoln. And there will be a charge, like there is in all of our county parks, of $5 a day or $20 for the year. And the year is May through the end of September, I believe. And when it's not during that time, it's free. Trails will be about 2.2 miles of marked trails. And porta-johns and kiosks like we have at the beach to pay for the parking. And the thing that's really exciting for all of you, all of us, is that we've done preliminary plans in terms of deciding that it's going to remain pretty natural. But we are inviting the public to a master planning event, and everybody will be able to participate and share their ideas, and it'll be a great opportunity for public input. So there also is 2,000 feet of Lake Michigan frontage. There has been a significant amount of fundraising already done by the Community Foundation and Land Conservancy, and we have a fund there for it. $500,000 has been raised so far from the public. May 19th, that's the date of the dedication. Let's see. There will be a handicapped kayak launch, and the opportunity to buy memorial benches. So, and then there will be a handicap lookout by the parking and interpretive signage. You can't hunt or trap. You can fish from, but not from a motorized boat. So, we're trying to keep it as natural as possible. We have total support. Everybody that came to the meeting last week was very supportive. The neighbors are supportive. And I think, because we've involved them all along the way and listened and whatnot, it's working out very well. So I'm very happy to share that with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Hovey Wright, for joining us, and moreover, grateful for the work you and your colleagues at the county are doing to make this park a possibility. Well, we're very grateful for your efforts in that regard. And hopefully we can find ways to collaborate on our adjoining park, Cruzy Park, and your the new county Dune Harbor Park. So thank you again for joining us. Miss Patsy Petty. Good evening, how are you? Come to the podium and just give your name and your remarks, please.
Good evening. I'm sorry, because it's evening now, not afternoon. But my name is Patsy Pitt. I live at 1131 Allen. And I wanted to just make a comment. This is Black History Month, but we just cannot honor just Black History Month because it goes all year. Okay? But I just wanted to reflect on something that I read by Dr. Martin Luther King. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. So, and I want to address that to the commissioners here, to take that in mind when you're making a lot of decisions concerning your constituents.
Thank you, Ms. Petty. Ms. Tish, I just want to confirm that you do not want to speak you wanted to speak previously on 2123 Henry. That was removed. I just want to confirm you're not interested in speaking on that item still? Correct. Wait. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. We have a Patricia Bennett of Montague. Would you care to come to the podium and give your remarks?
Wanted to read a quote by Gandhi in reference to the animal testing facility that is being talked about. Greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. And do we have a Bradley Knoll from Grand Haven? Welcome. Please provide your name and up to 3 minutes of remarks.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Bradley Knoll. I reside in Grand Haven. I'm here to offer brief comments relating to the sale by the City of Muskegon real estate to the entity that would operate Northern Biomedical. I'm not a member of any animal rights organization, and people who know me would not call me radical. The last time I carried a protest sign was during the war in Vietnam. I'm a pragmatist. In my occupation, I'm often presented with situations for resolution that make me wonder out loud, what were these people thinking? So it is when I learned of this transaction, my first reaction was to ask the same question. My puzzlement relates both to decisions made by the city and by the purchaser of the property. It's axiomatic that in animal testing, labs operate best when they operate in secret. They are located on long, narrow roads away from public access, so I wondered why the lab would seek to acquire property from a public entity where that transaction would necessarily be more transparent than a private land acquisition. Probably they were hoping that the city would be complicit in making the transaction appear to be more benign, and it must have been a good deal. From the city's perspective, and that's why I'm here, I ask why Muskegon would endorse the expansion of business whose activities are considered loathsome and outrageous by most folks. Certainly the city is not interested in branding itself as a promoter of the practices. One would not expect signs saying, "Welcome to Muskegon, the animal testing capital of the Midwest." Animal labs engage in practices which are horrifying and largely ineffective. The statistics I've seen suggest that only about 10% of the tests result in a product that can be used by humans. Labs are dinosaurs, rapidly being replaced by in vitro and in silico methods, already banned by the European Union, with efforts underway in federal and state legislatures to ban the practice. The FDA and EPA have announced policies to phase out animal labs. It's likely they will cease to exist in 10 years. The labs do appear to be profitable, notwithstanding their ineffectiveness. The promise of economic benefits may have swayed commission members. It's important to note that the employee needs of the labs do not match the skill levels of the Muskegon area workforce. Of course, the prospect of new employees relocating to Muskegon is appealing, but view of real estate
30
records
seconds, Mr. Knoll.
indicates that mid and upper level management of the company do not live in Muskegon, not choose to live in Muskegon. So it's hard to say which benefits will actually flow to the city. I'll close by saying that I don't know the leadership involved in this protest. My first impression is that they seem earnest, intelligent, and dedicated. They are not going away, and the issue likely won't either. Issues that don't go away tend to become viral eventually. You still have the chance to reconsider this decision
Time's expired.
and restore the city's reputation and yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a Brandy? Not sure exactly how to pronounce your last name, so if you could come up and just give your name, and you have 3 minutes to provide remarks.
My name is Brandy Gu. I'm going to be speaking on the animal testing as well. First things first, I would like to read a couple of quotes. First quote being, until we have the courage to recognize cruelty for what it is, whether its victim is human or animal, we cannot expect things to be better in this world. Second quote, the soul is the same in all living creatures, although the body of each is different. With that, I would like to say how disappointed I am with your decision. My mom always says if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all, but frankly, I've never been one to follow the rules, especially when it comes to the lives of animals. We'll never understand the select behavior from some of you as we express our concerns and what could have possibly possessed you to make the disgusting decision that damages the lives of millions of animals. Lastly, at the last meeting I attended, there was a mention of animal testing helping neurological issues. So as a person with incurable neurological issues, I just wanted to say that I would rather live the rest of my life in my daily pain than put that on another animal. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you joining us and sharing your remarks. And finally, we have a Kat Jackson of Spring Lake. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. You have up to 3 minutes to provide remarks.
Okay, I probably won't take 3 minutes. My name's Kat Jackson. I'm from Spring Lake. I used to live in Norton Shores for years. And I guess the only thing I wanted to add that I thought that might make a difference to you is that when we were protesting on Sunday, about every third or fourth car either yelled out support, beeped at us, put their thumbs up, waved, and seemed to be very much in the same vein as we are in terms of not agreeing with animal testing at all. There were people of all colors, cars of all means, appearance-wise, and so I think it kind of goes across the board in terms of how people feel about that. I'm very disappointed to hear about how this was voted in. It hurts my heart, it hurts my brain, it hurts everything in me to think of the suffering that these animals will go through. And I know probably all of you have animals at home, and I just would ask you to look into their eyes when you get home tonight and hug them hard and think about what might happen if they were the unlucky ones to get into that situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Madam Clerk, is there no more? All right. Commissioners? Anyone care to make the motion to adjourn? Yes, Vice
Before
Mayor
we
Chairman.
adjourn, thank you. Also, regarding to Black History, I just like to let the public know, and it's open to anyone who wants to be a part of this. Muskegon County Democratic Black Caucus is hosting a Black History event this Saturday, February 26th at the Muskegon Heights Library. Saturday, 12 o'clock noon. So feel free to stop by. Elected officials, I'd like to see you all there. Anybody who wants to participate. So, and thank you for your support in advance. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Chairman. Anyone like to take it away?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner St. Clair, supported by Commissioner Gorman to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, take care and be well, all.